All right, dealer's choice. Where do you want to start? You want to start with the league, or do you want to start with the cup? Where I heard that the team that wins gets radial tires for every car in the parking lot.
No one has ever seen a Prinks tire in real life. I don't know who buys them.
And
Like,
I mean, that's that. I can't think of a Prinks tire myself.
so I don't know. I mean, I kind of want to start with the Super League, if that's okay with you.
As you wish, go for it. What's going on?
Super League, we just have one final playoff spot available, and it's Dallas Trinity versus Sporting Jacks. Lexington, Carolina all cement themselves into the playoff, and Sporting Jacks, I mean, they have been fantastic for a year one side. I mean, they have three of the top four goal scorers in the league. They are an all out attack team. But Lexington's just kind of been quietly chugging along despite all the signings they made. They've been just kind of just silently going about their thing. And then Carolina got really hot out of nowhere. After the fall split ends, they get into the spring split, easy for me to say.
Yes.
They bring on Tyler Lucy, and she has been an absolute game changer and bring just some solidity. Even though she's an attacking player, it kind of stirred up some issues, which allowed defensive players to stay defensive. And now we're looking at DC Power. They were awful last year. Now they're on the door looking to knock their way in. You're looking at Spokane Zephyr. They have the same amount of points as DC Power, and they are also knocking on the door. Dallas City holding on point. All teams on the same amount of games played. It's a really tight finish to this end of this season. And remember, only the top four make it. And whoever gets that home field advantage right now, it looks like Sporting Jacks. However, Lexington just beat Sporting Jacks at Hodges Stadium to draw the distance between the two to just 1 point. So Sporting Jacks slips up one good time. The finals just may run through Lexington.
Well, I was going to say, when has Lexington ever been quiet about their approach? It doesn't matter which franchise we're talking about here, but Lexington is not messing around. They have come to have their philosophy, and they're trying to charge to the top of the table. Doesn't matter what league we're talking about. You mentioned Sporting Jacks, and with what they've been able to do in a first year, and I mean, has it been all gas, no brakes for Stacy and everybody? I mean, what has it been like to see them this year?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I mean, as soon as they came out the gates, they were impressive. They were beating everybody in touches in the box. They had just as many touches in the 18-yard box in the very first game as their opponent did, almost total. Like they have been unbelievable in what they've been able to do in the final third. Okay, that was the sack, excuse me, final third, not in the box. But even so,
Yeah.
The fact that they've been able to go so far into just being attacking has been impressive. Ashlyn Puerta has slowed down. She's only second in the league in scoring, and instead of scoring, she's just become Mrs. Sister. And now Bailey DeSmith's getting on the score sheet. She's racking up the goals right behind Puerta. And this back line, I mean, they're solid, but you can't score if you don't have the ball, right? And that's what Jacksonville's doing to other teams. Something to kind of keep the eye out on for other fans is that you have DC Power taking on Dallas Trinity, which is going to be right on to see who's going to get into that final spot. Who does Spokane have? Lexington. It's going to be at Spokane. That helps.
Okay. Yeah.
But if I am DC Power or if I am Dallas Trinity, I am circling this game and says you have to win. You cannot rely on anybody else to give you results. Maybe Spokane can eke out a draw, which might be the best thing for both DC Power and Dallas Trinity. But that is a mandatory 3 points if you want to stay in this playoff hunt.
Yeah, and it's going to be fun seeing the sprint down the stretch for the USL Super League, as the folks at Gainbridge have really gotten their money's worth when it comes to the goal scoring and the offense up top. It's like there's two separate groups. It's 1, 2, and 3, and then the chase to be number 4. So I'm intrigued by this, and I'm really enthusiastic about what we've seen in this particular grouping of the Super League here in 25-26.
No doubt.
I'm just me. All right. So are we talking tires or are we talking league itself?
Let's talk some tires. I'm
Okay.
always down to talk some tires. I, it's been fun. It always is. And you always like to see these League One championship matchups and see who can come out on top, who can maybe take advantage of the system.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That was a couple years ago, and I'm trying to distinctly remember who it was now. Northern Colorado, the year that they won it all.
Yeah.
The part of, and Eamon Zayed pushed back on me a little bit when I mentioned this to him. However, Coco figured out their season through the Jägermeister Cup because this is a competition that incentivizes scoring. You're not going to nil your way into PKs because you're not going to get all 3 points. You're only getting 2 from that situation. Yes, it's 2 points, but don't you want all 3?
Yeah.
Tiebreakers being goals scored. This is something that it just really goes for the all gas, no brakes. And a team that I think might be, I don't want to call fixing themselves, but showing that they're more competent than maybe they showed. I mean, you end up having Monterey Bay beating Oakland Roots 2-2 and then penalties later on. I didn't think that Monterey Bay had 2 goals in them this year, let alone against Oakland. But this type of matchup where you are incentivized to go for it. It's not like you're going to finish last in the group and then suddenly you're necessarily made fun of and you're a wooden spoon contender, right? You have nothing to lose for going after this tournament. In fact, you have everything to gain. This is the only thing that the USL has right now with actual prize money on the line. You win it, you get money. We don't know if that's necessarily true for the USL Championship or League One. You only have stuff to gain, nothing to lose. Go for it. And Monterey Bay looked reinvigorated. They look like a really good team. On the other side, I mean, Oakland has been pretty good, not as great as they were as they started off this season. But you're looking at a team like an Oakland, like a Monterey Bay. You're looking at teams like Miami who get a win over Sporting Jacks, who Miami has been a lot better than people kind of thought they would be. You would think that maybe the all gas, no brakes would go forward for Sporting Jacks like they do on the women's side. On the men's side, he kind of figured the same thing. Hasn't quite worked.
No.
I'm really interested to see who the next bubbling team who can take advantage of the format and maybe get hot for the rest of the season.
You look at the championship since we're here, and I mean, you can say the same thing about League One, but the grouping of where everybody is right now. I mean, if you look at it in the East, it's Louisville and Tampa Bay, and they're a little bit clear. They've got a little bit of breathing room. But then you go 3 through 10 in the East. You have 8 teams separated by 3 points. Then you go into the West, and you've got the competition up top with more teams in a short amount of space. Orange County, San Antonio, El Paso, Oakland, and then Sacramento kind of leads that second group. Or if you want to include them in the first group, I could sit there and say A-, Sacramento, you're still in there. Then group 2, you're looking at Phoenix, Colorado, New Mexico, Lexington, Tulsa, and Vegas. So that's 6 teams separated by 4 points after 5, 6, or 7 matches in the year. It's crazy right now where these groups are and how tight they are with each other.
I think I said it preseason when I talked to you, and right after the season started, across the championship, across League One, there is no bad team. Like, there's just not. There's Jacksonville, there's Monterey Bay, who we just talked about.
Right.
But even so, I mean, they're looking more and more competent as we go along. Sporting Jacks is giving me less faith every single day. But even so, you talk about how tight everything is. Even at the top, let's look at the East. This is a Eastern Conference pod, kind of. I mean, based in Atlanta, it's cool with you.
True.
We also have our friends in Charleston that like to watch this. So,
yeah.
I'll give them a little, little thing here.
Okay.
Aside from Tampa Bay, every single team in the East looks beatable. Louisville looks human. They're really good. Don't get me
Well,
wrong.
but
They're really
how much of that is not having Danny around anymore on the touchline?
I don't know, and that's a great question. But even so, that doesn't change the position that they're in.
Yeah.
They look human. They do look human. You see teams that went in there and have taken it to them. Charleston went after them, and Charleston showed something to them, and they were like, okay, this Charleston team's legit. Ben Pierman has gone direct, which is something he's not known for. He's not known for long balls over the top, and that's how he beat Louisville City. Brooklyn beats them the next week 3-0.
Mm.
I didn't think Brooklyn had 3 goals in them, but this Brooklyn team put together a defensive and an offensive effort. Was it good showing by Charleston? No. But on paper, Brooklyn should not have been competing with this team. They're a good enough team to be in competition with. Out in the West, Sacramento, I mean, they look great. El Paso, all gas, no brakes. Talk about that kind of idea. Rubio Rubin is going to score 30 goals before we're midway through. Like, he looks like a man possessed. Everything there was. Now officially Wilmer Cabrera again. Now that he's in Charleston. He's the better version. He is the better version going out there right now. And it looks like they have sorted out some defensive issues. Will they give up a goal or 2 a game? Yeah. They'll also score 5. Who cares? It's good.
And that's crazy to look at, that you sit there and you see the balance that is there. But you mentioned Sporting.
Yeah.
I've got to throw Loudoun into this discussion just a little bit because they still have a goose egg. And I know, and I mean, we mentioned Monterey Bay, and Loudoun right now 0-2-4 in their first 6. That all they're doing, they seem to be drawing more than anything else right now after losing their first 2 of their first 3. What is it with Loudoun that you're seeing that they're just not able to get over the hump so far, even though they're at the tail end of the second chase group?
I don't want to say as simple as apple teep, apple cora, but it might be. They play really attractive soccer. It looks good. When they're flowing, it looks fantastic. They played Charleston in the Brinks Cup, and there were moments that they looked like the better team, the way that they passed throughout the field. They carved Charleston open. Then they finally get the shot where they had space, not on target. And that's kind of been their story all year long now. I think that Loudoun, and I put this out on Blue Sky, I think, of Loudoun is going to be my any for the rest of the year. I just know it. It just feels like any game now, it's going to click. These passes are going to become shots on goal, right? And that's all it's going to take, because Baudry in goal for them looks like a super stud. He looks fantastic. And when you think, how do you replace Hugo Faru? Get this guy. Yeah. He's been awesome. He's going to keep them in matches if they can just get shots on target and really force keepers to make save instead of just pushing it wide or getting into blocks, get block shots. I really think they can find themselves in the playoff race once again.
So if Loudoun is your yellow light, basically as we play red light, yellow light, green light, go here for this month, if they are yellow going from red to green, we kind of talked about red lights. Is there a definitive red light, whether it's Monterey Bay or Jax or somebody? Who's a red light for you?
This one's hard this year. It really is. To me, I think it is going to come down to Monterey Bay, Sporting, Jax.
Okay.
Even Brooklyn has shown me something. Do I think it's sustainable? No, but I think they could be competitive any game that they're in. Right. They could also get killed, but they have shown that they can be competitive. I mean, Monterey Bay has shown me that they can put together goals and get wins. Jacksonville's got me nothing. I
Okay.
kind of have nothing with Jacksonville.
Okay.
So out in the West, I mean, I mentioned Monterey Bay. I'm looking at throughout the teams that have struggled out the gates, but I'm still talking myself into New Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
Las Vegas, Lexington, obviously, FC Tulsa. These are teams that have struggled out the gate, but you look at the paper and you like what you see out of those. If I'm doing a sneaky, whatever the color between orange, like a yellow and red, I guess that's orange, right? If
It'd
my
be an orange. Yeah, you can do an orange light.
my orange light is New Mexico.
Okay.
Because I don't know if they've been able to replace Maples.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like it's a bigger deal than they thought. They got Javang playing as a right back, says Sanchez, and he's a central defensive midfielder. And this isn't Indy 11. We're using Noble Okello as a striker,
Right.
even though he's a central midfielder. He's looked competent. Also, it helps having a 6'5" striker. No one's ever complained about that.
No.
But it isn't working, and I don't see any signs that it's going to start working. But then I look at a Valentin Noel on this team, a Greg Erst. You look at some of the other players that they have brought in throughout the offseason. Reed Stevens, argument to be one of the best wingers in the league already. You can't help but talk yourself into it, but I have not seen anything that actually gives me hope. They are getting a dark orange light from me.
Okay. I want to get into League One before I ask you about the PA, and we wrap up for this week. We talk about how everything is bunched together, and you look at the teams that are in. I mean, Boise has kind of, they've kind of waddled their way into it. They're kind of catching their sea legs a little bit as the newborn colt, and they're in 5th. Then you go 6 through 16, so you're talking 11 teams right now. 11 teams in this league are separated by one win, basically. If you have a good week, if you've got a good midweek and you finish it with a good weekend, you could go from being, close, you could be 18th in a 17-team league and you could be in the playoff hunt. I mean, did you anticipate that this would be as even as it is right now through match week, either 4 or through 7 so far this season?
Yeah, I did, because when Alex Ashton, League One updater, as he's known on social media, when him and I talked preseason, we were talking about the teams that were outside the top 4 from, was that 5 to 17?
Yeah.
The gap between 5 and 17, we were doing season research. It was nothing.
Wow.
Even 17, Corpus Christi at the time, the only reason they were 17 is because they had officially they've only signed like 5 players at the time, but they have someone we talked about earlier on the show, Eamon Zayed. If there's anybody on this planet that I trust to work on a low budget and get the most out of nothing, it's Eamon Zayed.
You ain't kidding.
And so you're looking at that 5 through 17, you could talk yourself into any of those teams. Even that 1 through 4, which I'm trying to remember off the top of my head now, I'm pretty sure.
Naples knocked Spokane and Omaha right now, separated by 2.
Right now, yes. At preseason, I was not a believer, and I said on the USL show, and I say it all the time, Naples is slapping me in the face, telling me to shove it, because I was so wrong about them. I really thought that the losing of part of their center back pairing, Chris Heckenberg and Carson Inderlong, I thought losing that much down the spine would kill any team. I would have felt the same way about Union Omaha, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like, if you lose that good of a spine, it's not just one player. It wasn't just Inderlong. It was all the way down the spine. I just did not believe that anybody could replace that talent. And boy, did they prove me wrong. They have proved me so wrong. But preseason for me, it was going to be Portland. It was going to be Boise. It was going to be Omaha, and I can't remember who the fourth one was off the top of my head now, but they were all right there. And I've really enjoyed what I've seen so far. It's been super even. It's been super fun. And another team that shut me up, One Knox. I thought they lost too much talent too.
Yeah.
I did.
I know.
And no, Ian Fuller's a genius, and I'm an idiot. And that's what this comes down to.
Plug and play. Before we get you out of here, we're still seeing the shows of solidarity around center circles before and during early parts of matches. Any clue where things stand right now with negotiations with the PA and the league?
If you read John Morrissey, USL Tactics article on Backfield, he just gave an update on the USL CBA, and he's been the one that's been getting a lot of the scoops and publicizing them.
Right.
So I'm going to echo some stuff that he said and some stuff that I've heard individually.
Go for it. Yeah.
What is coming down to there is this using images and likeness and basically just like not NIL, but essentially NIL, right?
Yeah.
For professionals, and the players want a bigger slice of the pie.
Understood.
They want to be able to use their image because, I mean, this is not the highest paying league. And so if they're going to be using them for promotion, they want to sustain themselves a little bit more.
Right.
According to John, they are kind of looping in the rest of the leagues right now. It's not just a championship. Bargaining is now Super League, soon to be Premier Division, Premier League, and League One. Okay. They're trying to make it one group thing, but that's really tricky because not every team and league has set that up at all.
Right. Yeah.
So that's causing a lot more rift, and I find it fascinating that they're trying to do that and have it be a championship negotiation.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, if you are maybe a Detroit or maybe the a team that is currently in championship or was in championship or was in League One, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Cary, North Carolina, and you're working your way up to the Premier, if you're in one division, you want to set yourself up for the future, and that might be that's me extrapolating. Okay, if we're talking about something down the line that we're going to be a part of that doesn't quite exist yet, you've got to figure out those puzzle pieces and kind of anticipate the future, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, and with the players in the league, they're fighting a multi-front war right now, where the Super League does not have its own CBA.
Right.
Granted, from everything I hear, they've been very good about their minimum standards, and they've been doing a really good job of taking care of the players. So that's not a problem, but still don't have one. The first division has to be sorted out. They have to figure out details to it. And they have the championship this year, and next year League One's up. So there's so much like negotiating that championship can bring some up. And it's like, but we also need to figure out the first division minimum salary. We have to finish out the first division this. And then we can figure out the championship, because we can't start the first division at 60,000. This is me making up numbers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's say they're starting off minimum compensation for the first division at 60,000, but the championship players want to start at 80. Like the wage scale doesn't work. And so they have to sort out the top before they can sort out the middle.
Yeah.
And they're fighting a multi-facet war right now.
Yeah. It sounds like a complex compound sentence where if this, then this. Literally. Yes. And that's so, well, and maybe that's how you settle it. Well, if you have one version of leagues happening, then we go this way. And then if we don't, then we go this way. So basically just come up with alternatives of one path, and then if the one path isn't going to happen, then you have this second path as the way to go. So maybe you need to have two sets of books, in that big glass conference table in the equally glass room, the hermetically sealed door, and all of the nice easy chairs. Come up with two sets of books and do an if then.
Yeah. One thing that from what I've heard from my sources on the matter, currently there have been agreements to the CBA that have been made that everybody seems to be pretty happy with. Like the health insurance seems like it's in a pretty solid spot right now.
Mm-hmm.
Of they're going to be offering, every team is mandatory required to give health insurance, and it'll be the same thing that front office employees will get.
Right.
So players, front office will be treated equal in that sense. That seems like it's pretty firmly in there at this point. Something else that has been loosely agreed on at this point is that at the end of next year, 12-month contracts will be official.
Okay.
Which is, when you know it, coincides with the beginning of Premier Division.
Yep.
And it seems like those seem pretty in step.
Mm-hmm.
They seem solid. I mean, there have been concessions made, and it seems like there is progress. But even so, we're seeing players lock arm in arm in the Prinks Cup. Every single championship team covered up the championship patch on their jersey.
Okay.
They got a white armband and covered up the championship patch. The League One players did not do that, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's been more and more of these protests. And I am getting to the point just me as Kaylor. I'm not talking as a player,
right.
Obviously.
Right.
How many more protests can you do until you just do it?
Yeah.
How many more protests do you have until you walk off the field?
Yeah.
In which I think the answer to it is there's going to be teams that are in first place. There are players that are going to be in first place that get treated well by their organization, that they know we're treated right here. We have good train facilities. They give us good food. We stay in good hotels. I make good money here, and we're in first place. I'm not walking off this field.
Yeah.
And then you're going to get somebody in last place, so they know they're out of it. Then maybe they aren't treated amazingly. And they're saying, dude, I do not care. And so who is the Player Association going to side with? Are they going to side with the more impactful teams, the ones that are in first? Or are they going to side with the teams that have, or the players that have nothing to lose at this point? I am fascinated by what their decision is going to be. They can call a strike at any time. They've already voted on that. Yeah. They voted that they can do it. Will the players do it? At this point, you're running out of protest. You're running out of things you can do.
Yeah, you're already in season, and you're getting to the point where wins and losses are getting figured out, and you're figuring out money on the line in a cup about a tire that we've never seen. And so you have a competition involving these leagues where there's money at the end of the rainbow, and then you have two leagues. You have a league going on right now where you're pretty tightly packed together. You've got a bunch of folks chasing after titles, and you're going to be on television, and you can sit there and prove your wares to a national/international audience, depending on if you're on Parabros or the Four Letter Network or wherever. So I think that this is obviously something that we're going to keep talking about it. We'll see where it continues to develop. You know that you have a break glass opportunity. You know where the fire, where the axe is to break glass, and tapping in to get the fire extinguisher at any moment. What's going on with the USL show?
Got more live shows coming out. Kids season is doing their thing. They're having a blast. They've given away 2-3 kits now that if you want free jerseys, including one I think they just gave away from Charleston Battery, get in there to kids season. They're doing awesome work over there. Lots of interviews. The USL show keeps chugging along. And about a month ago-ish, now we released a video of our trip up to Asheville when they played.
There you go. Oh, there it is.
So a lot of work went into that one. It was a ton of fun, and I had an absolute blast recording everything. So go check it out. At the very least, I got a really cool video of a sunset in the mountains. So I think it's worth watching for that alone.
Yep, and catching up with our buddy Scott Wells and seeing what's going on there, what he does with Asheville City. If you would please, sir, cut the promo. Where do folks need to go?
At the USL show, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, and on YouTube. And everything that we post gets uploaded to podcast players. Find your favorite one and listen to us there.
What he said. Kaylor Hodges getting ready for the High Tam the roster edition coming up. But when is the roster edition officially?
Mid-October.
We're in the middle of the postseason too.
Right in the middle of the postseason, right in the middle of football season. Everything's great, but we're excited to have Mason joining Hodges FC.
Yes, absolutely true. It's a great roster addition. We'll catch up with you soon, my friend, and let us know if there's anything that you need to bash the door down to let us know about. It's always great to see you.